Welcome to Leadership Legacy Radio, where we inspire you to live your dreams, encourage you to take massive action, and be your authentic and genuine self. We focus on 3 pillars. That's empowering youth, equipping leaders, and enriching marriages so that you can go out and dominate your space.
If you're ready to dominate, you're listening to the right show. This is the Leadership Legacy Radio. Now let's go.
Let's go. How y'all doing this wonderful Saturday evening? Won't be before you long. Checking to see that we're live and we are a go. All right. So we're going to share with you guys something that, again, everything that we share with you guys is things that we're learning, going through, growing through, and experiencing, and we're having fun with it. We hope that you would have fun with us and know that this is a learning experience. We share a lot of things. We help people with a lot of things, but it's all about growing through the experience. And so tonight we wanted to talk about our responsibility, your responsibility, the ultimate responsibility that we all have, right? So tell me, how was your day today, Sharita?
My day was great, Christian. How was your?
I had a really good day.
Did you?
Got time to, got a lot of time to spend with my amazing wife. We hung out and had some shenanigans, as you can see from our posts, just having a little bit of fun. And, one of the things that came up during our day out was, we went to an establishment. I don't want to call it establishment out, but I went into the establishment twice or 3 times. Twice. I went into the establishment twice because I really wanted to go to this establishment, right?
Yes.
And 2 times I saw the same thing. Now, if you want your business to struggle, you would do this, right? Mm-hmm. And if you want your life to be hard, you will do this. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed is that oftentimes people run away from things that they may be uncomfortable with, right? So, like you may be uncomfortable serving people, right? You may be uncomfortable being on the front line. And you shared an example with me where you said, like, the people that serve others the most are in the kitchen, right? Like all the work is done in the kitchen, not on the front lines. And I think oftentimes what people tend to forget is, like, when people need you, you got to step up. And in this example, we were at an establishment and there was one person just working the line. And then this other person, the first time I walk in, was doing everything but working the line. I mean, they were trying to replenish.
The line to the door.
The line to, they were trying, and the line was to the door. Like I walked in and there was like 7 people ahead of me. I was there for a good maybe 15 minutes. No exaggeration, maybe even 20 minutes. Because I really wanted to go into this establishment. And as I'm sitting there, I'm just watching one person working their tail off, and this other person doing everything else but working.
Trying to avoid
helping. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? Why would you do that? So I walk out, I come outside, I joke about it with Sharita, and I'm like, this is crazy. This is how you lose business. So we drive away, we go do some stuff, we walk around the mall, we hang out, and then we're like, you know what? Let's go pick up some stuff and head home. And then I was like, I'm going to try again. And I stopped. And the same exact thing this time.
I got to witness it.
She got to witness this. She came in and she was like, what's going on? And I'm like, the person walks in, they walk out, they start doing something else. And I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you not
worry about that stuff later?
Yeah.
And not be so busy with everything else, but helping people in the main thing that needs to be done.
The main thing that needs to be
done. Like sometimes we worry about, and I think I said this last night when we were doing our live, where, sometimes we have a huge responsibility and we avoid it.
Yes.
Like the plague. Like we try to get all of these other things done before we sit down and tackle this one main thing that needs to be done. And all those other little things really can wait. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Like if I have something that I need to get done, I'm going to try to do the dishes. I'm going to try to do all these other things that really aren't that important, that can really wait. But I do all of those things before I get to this one thing that I really need to do.
Really need
so
to do.
that's what that situation really
Absolutely.
looked like to me. Like that's what needed to be done.
Yeah, that's the
and
responsibility,
she wanted to do
right?
everything, but
And I think about it like in other examples, right? So you tell your kids, "Hey, it's time to do homework." Oh, I gotta take out the trash. I gotta I mean, like they try to do.
no other time are you worried about doing these other things, these other little things at that.
Absolutely.
Until you find yourself doing
Until you find yourself.
So that was a super funny example. But one thing that Christian and I were kind of laughing about was that we're gonna start when we go out. Sometimes we see funny things like this, right? And I'm gonna start recording it.
We have to record.
I'm gonna make people
because
like
you can't make this up.
You can't make it up. Like, and I'm telling you, like one the post that I posted today, somebody was like, "Oh, I want to see a video of that." I'm going to start recording this stuff because sometimes people have like horrible customer service or just just things that you would not think should happen. They do,
Yes.
and then you're just like, you can't believe it. You're like, man, are you serious about this?
And
so I'm gonna just take a camera. I'm gonna take my phone. And I'm gonna record this because
and you probably should do a leadership lesson right there, like on the spot.
Right there on the spot.
On the spot.
That's good.
Like leadership nugget
Let
for
me
the
go
day
live
right now.
This is actually happened. This is actual footage of me in this establishment and this person not wanting to be helpful or this person being rude or doing this or doing what I mean, whatever. Let me help you. You know what I mean? Because we all.
And don't we often go to several establishments, see the same repetitive behavior, and then the first thing that we think is, how do people feel like their business isn't struggling? Why do they not see why their business is struggling? How can they not see that?
I feel like, and I think when we were talking about it is, I don't know if it's small towns, maybe kind of have.
So the mindset.
Have a small kind of mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're thinking, oh, okay, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with this.
Yeah.
I'm not okay with,
absolutely.
My
reach isn't only here.
Isn't only the people here. It might not North. Absolutely not.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe a huge factor.
Yeah.
Because if you think about,
maybe not the only one, but it's definitely a huge factor.
If all you think about is the only person I'm going to serve is the people in the Martinez household,
right?
Then you're going to fail a lot. You're going to struggle a lot. Because you're called to serve others, right? And I think about the there's another example where we went out as a family. We were having a little family outing. We want to try to do stuff as a family. And I go up to the counter to ask this young lady. I actually just asked for customer service. The one of the things that we were using wasn't working. Whenever we would press the button, the other side of the establishment would actually work instead of the side of the establishment.
At first, I didn't know what you were talking about.
And then I thought about it, and I said, let me go up to the counter, let them know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And instead of coming to me and asking, how can I help you? It was like, what? What do you want? I was like, yes. Who are they talking to? Like, obviously they're not talking to me. Because I thought that I was a customer when I came in the door.
Right.
And little things like that, like, if you don't understand that, like, little things like that will prevent people from coming to your establishment.
Listen.
The way that you treat people will make them come back. Will make them return. You can have
the best product there is. You know what I mean? You can have the best looking establishment, the best, whatever you're serving. You can have the best of it. But if your employees don't treat people the way that they need to be treated, people won't come back. I'd rather go to a mom and pop shop that don't have the fanciest, decor or anything like that, uniforms, or
but they greeted me by my name.
But they come and they talk to me, and I will go to that place every single week. Then go to somewhere fancy and where they feel like they have the latest this and that, and they treat people awful. Yeah.
And all of that, we say all of that, we share all of that to truly get to the bottom of what we wanted to talk about. And this is your moral responsibility. This is your ethical responsibility. It is your, I almost want to say it's part of our birthright, right? Like, it's part of the things that we are supposed to do every day, day in and day out. And we're supposed to be an example. The example that you set for yourself, the example that you set for others, the example that you set for children, it is ridiculous of the ripple effect that it has. Think about this. We were in Walmart, and Sharita was returning something. I had went down an aisle to get something out. We were trying to basically divide and conquer. She was trying to get some stuff, turned in. We were trying to get some stuff kind of fixed out, and switched in and out. And this young lady is talking to her child. And instead of trying to take the time to explain and communicate with the child in a manner that was, I think in just very respectful, right? It was like, it was like, shut up, I'm not talking to you. And then the child told the younger sibling the same thing. Shut up, I'm not talking to you. And that was a direct reflection of what exactly I was talking about. You are a example for everybody around you.
Hate that, bro.
And if you allow a situation to change how you show up, to change how you respond, people may not want to be around you anymore, because they're going to think that this is the character that I'm going to see every time that you're around. People are going to be deterred from approaching you. And I think about every situation that we see, whether it's how you talk to your children, how we talk to each other as our spouses. Say you do something that I don't like, and our children hear me say that you're horrible. The image that they're going to get is that mom is horrible. And we do these things so subtly, and we don't understand how it affects everything around us. The way that you treat somebody that's asking you a question. So everybody comes to me to get feedback, right? And instead of me treating everybody like respect, because you don't have a position over me, I yell at you. Because you aren't on my specific team, I don't listen to you. You don't bring value to me because you cannot give me anything. You cannot help me in any kind of way. But that's the wrong mindset.
Right. And this is such a good point. You know what I mean? You titled it like our moral responsibility. So whether or not you feel like it's your responsibility or not, like, this is something that we're born with. We're born with this responsibility to be an example. So whether or not you used an example of a parent, with their kids, whether or not you are a parent or you aren't a parent, it's your responsibility. People are watching you. And if you choose to set a bad example and people are watching you, believe it or not, whether you feel the effects of that immediately,
absolutely,
you're going to have some repercussions from that. If somebody see you acting out of character, whether it's, say, somebody from your job, say you do it on Facebook and you go to apply for a job, you're acting a certain way, it's going to come back to you. So it's important that we set the right example. So going back to being parents, that's super important. Like, as much as I can say I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want to do, really I can't. Because guess what? That exact same thing, it's how our kids are going to respond to other people. When I drive in the car, if I tend to have a lot of road rage, now that we have a 16-year-old that's driving and wants to be on the road as much as he possibly can, if I was to set that example to him, to where I'm constantly getting frustrated if people are not driving the right way, driving too slow, honking on, that's exactly what
he's going to respond.
He's going to respond like when he gets behind the road. That's how he's going to respond to his brothers and his sisters. So whether or not he wants to be an example or not, whether or not my middle son wants to be an example or not, whether or not my daughter, she's the youngest, whether or not she wants to be an example or not, she has to, because somebody else is watching her.
Absolutely.
Whether or not it's the little, 4-year-old across the street that loves playing with her and looking up to her. Like, That's not her sister.
Nope.
But that's a little girl that
she
likes
looks
to
up to.
play with
Yep.
her and loves playing with her.
Mhm.
So we have a moral responsibility to set a good example
Absolutely.
for those around us. And it doesn't matter. Like we can sit here and we can go through so many different scenarios that
And I got a really good one that I wanted to share.
yeah, that just, I mean, it doesn't matter whether or not you have kids, whether or not you are a kid. It doesn't matter. Like at work, if you got somebody new on a job,
Mhm.
they're watching you if you've been there a month longer than them.
Yep.
They're watching how you treat customers, because how you treat customers sets the tone for how it's done in this work environment.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What example did you have?
I was just, I actually, it's not a good example. It was just a funny example, right? So
Oh,
this
okay.
morning,
That's better.
so this morning, we were finishing up, getting ready for the day, and I think one of the kids did something that that I was like, I said that's not a good habit. I was like, oh, you know, where did they get that habit from? And I turned to you and I said, okay, I didn't want to ask that question. I know where all the kids get all their bad habits from. It's from me. And Sharita was like, seriously? Like, you know, that's not what we meant. But think about it in a serious manner, right? Oftentimes we do certain things and we don't realize that people reflect what we do.
Yep.
And I think about, you know, a situation where you send an email, you send a comment, you say something, and somebody either posts something or say something to what you said. And sometimes I think personally that before you ever assume that somebody had ill will, you should ask.
Absolutely.
Don't be passive aggressive. Don't try to go around their back. Don't try to go to somebody else.
Don't try to make an assumption.
Hey, Sharita, you made this post earlier, and I personally want to know if you was talking to me. And if you say something like, were you offended? Then yes, you were talking to me, right? Like, were you offended by that post?
Oh, snap.
Well, yes, I was. That's why I'm asking. Okay. Question answered. But if you say something like, no, I was making a funny comment, I had a rough day and this is what happened, and I'm like, so it wasn't about me. No, I didn't think it was, but, you know, I felt some kind of way, you know, because of the situation we had 3 weeks ago. Man, that silly thing, I didn't even think about that twice. Like, so you going directly to that person, you can get clarity right away.
That's good, because, like, even if, you know, no, seriously, like, even if you don't, even if they did, you know, feel any kind of way, that might kind of lighten it up a little bit to where if they were, you know, talking about you, or if they were offended about it, then they would easily like kind of check themselves right away, because you came and you asked them about it. Oftentimes people will say so many different things when you're not right in front of their face.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like there's this Facebook post about a dog, like these two dogs barking at each other. Have you seen that? I don't know if any of you seen that.
Yes.
Like these two dogs are behind the screen, like barking
Behind
at each
the gate,
other.
yep.
They're barking at each other. Then somebody opens the screen door and they both like turning around, like being quiet, not saying anything. But as soon as they close the door back, they're barking at each other. They're all tough. And that's what people do. Like they act like, oh my goodness, like, you know, this and that. And they're offended by things and bothered by things. But I come and ask you and say, hey, what did you mean by that? Or hey, let me get clarification. It's not what, you know, they might have felt.
Yep.
Or might have been feeling. They're not going to express how they've been feeling.
Absolutely.
And I say that, you know, using an example with our boys, like oftentimes they're like, Mom, you assume I have an attitude and you're saying that, you know, I'm upset when I'm not really upset. So, you know, maybe you should ask me if I'm upset. And now that we ask, oh, no, I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't have an attitude. Yeah, okay. You're
your
saying
body
you
language,
don't. Yeah,
your face,
everything else you're saying that
says
something different.
And,
so I'm going to ask you, and when you ask, it's different.
And I think we're going to probably close, you know, this live here. But I want you to truly understand what's happening in our society right now. Social media has made it okay for people to say what they want, say what they feel, and not really understand that the repercussions that they may have. Also, the other side of that is people want to show you all these like great and miraculous things. And that's why we felt like it's more important that we share authentically the things that we're going through, the things that we're learning, the things that we have learned through every experience in life, because it's more powerful for you to see that we are not perfect. We are trying to make progress every day and get better on this journey of life, because that's what we're called to do. Get better every day and make progress. So today, when we talk about your moral, your ethical, your responsibility, it's important that you realize that what we talked about today is in direct correlation to what we talked about yesterday. You cannot be fearful if you're trying to get clarity. And I say that because this is something that I had struggled with for a long time. If I had a problem with somebody, instead of going directly to them, I would assume, I would think about what they would do. I would assume what they would say. I would believe of what they would do in that situation. And unless you go directly to the source and say, Sharita, listen, I know that I may have said something to you and I didn't mean it that way. I want to apologize because I know sometimes that the things that I say don't come out in the manner that I would like for them to come out. Can you let me know if that was taken the wrong way? Was it taken out of context? Like right now, I just feel like I want to make sure that our relationship is moving in the right direction. I want to make sure that I didn't say anything to offend you. And I know that in the heat of the moment, because we were dealing with business stuff, I may have said something that may have offended you. Can you let me know if I did that? And then right there, you're getting the clarity that you need. And then you're allowing that person to see that there wasn't any ill intent. So they can come back and without any reservation, they can say, yes, I was offended. But I'm glad that you brought it to my attention that you weren't trying to be offensive. You know, in the future, I would appreciate it if, you know, when we have the conversation, maybe we take a time out, maybe we deal with it differently, or maybe we just kind of like take a pause and say, okay, let's look at the situation, what's going on. Because when you communicate to that level and you show people that your motives and your intentions are pure, that your heart is a heart of service, that you want to be moving forward in the right direction, people usually say, you know what? Yeah, let's make this work. I know where your heart is. I know what you're trying to do. Absolutely. And if they don't, it's okay. You've made peace with that situation. You've tried to be better. You've tried to make amends, and you just keep it moving forward, right? So I hope that this has served you guys. I wanted to bring it together. Like, you know, fear should not stop you from walking in love, acting in love, and fulfilling your obligation, your responsibility.
More responsibility. I like that. One of the most, and I see Deb had a comment up here. It says, should I call my person out? You know what I mean? Like, that's one thing, just like Christian is explaining, it's important to have a one-on-one conversation with someone. Don't ever try to go and blast anybody out on social media. Don't ever try to go and talk to someone else about that person unless you're trying to get some godly counsel, unless you're trying to, you know, have somebody be a sounding board. You know what I mean? Somebody be a sounding board for you in order to help you. But oftentimes, you know, if you're talking to someone and they're just gonna, you know, kind of feed your anger and add fuel to the fire, that's not going to make you feel better. That's not going to serve you, you know, at all. So it's super important that, you know, you get to a peace before you go and you talk to that person. But it always helps when you do exactly what Christian just said. When you go to somebody in a humble state, you know what I mean? Like when you go to somebody and you're talking to them and you're pointing out all the things that they've done, people are going to automatically be on the defense. People are going to be on the defense. They're going to start pointing out the things that you've done wrong. They're going to try to justify the things that you're accusing them of. They're not going to get to the point by any means where they're owning whatever it is that they did.
They won't own it.
They won't own it. But all you can do is go to that person and you can talk to them and you can talk to them about the things that you're trying to do, your motives, what you're trying to accomplish through all of this. That's where you will be able to kind of break ground and have sort of a breakthrough in whatever it is that you're trying to mend in that relationship. So it starts with being humble. It starts with just talking about you, because the only thing that you can control is your actions, your attitude, your motives, and different things like that. And don't ever go to somebody pointing out all the things that they've done wrong. One of my mottos in every aspect of my life, honestly, is if there's something that didn't work out the way that I wanted it to, or it should have, what do we need to do moving forward? Hey, we didn't have a bad day. We didn't have a good day. Christian, what do we need to do moving forward? Hey, Deontay, hey, Jalen, hey, Genesis, what do you need to do moving forward? We're not worried about all the things that shoulda, woulda, coulda. You can shit all over yourself. I like that. Tony Robbins said that. That just made my day. I'm sorry, guys. Back on track. You're gonna should all over. I did not curse. You're gonna should all over yourself. Yes. But you can't worry about all the shoulda, woulda, couldas. All you can do is, what do I need to do better moving forward? Yeah. What do I need to do moving forward? What didn't I get right today that I need to get in line tomorrow?
And I think something that you said was really powerful. And it's something that, and I joke about this all the time, but you have helped me with this. You have, enabled me to become a phenomenal leader, a phenomenal communicator in different aspects of my life. And I think I attribute that to just being obedient and being willing to listen to the feedback, right? So one thing that you shared with me is, regardless of what you do, regardless of what happened, what am I accountable for? What am I responsible for? And what can I own in this situation? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to own what you did. No. I'm not going to own that and anything. I'm going to own my part. And here is why it's important, because if you show up and you say, I know that there are a few areas that I could have done better, I want to make sure, and I've shared this with my son. This is the quickest way to give you this illustration. You're coming down the court. You passed the ball. You thought your teammate was going in. Your teammate went out. You passed it. It goes out of bounds. Your coach goes to yell at you. And before the coach finishes, you say, my bad, coach. I thought he was going in. He went out. I won't let it happen again. The coach isn't going to yell at you. Yeah. Nothing else. He's like, going to be said. Okay. I mean, you self-corrected, you self-identified, and you know what you're going to do moving forward. That is why I always try to, with any team that I'm working with any individual that I'm working with, I try to explain to them, what did you do in that situation? Own your responsibility. What can you do moving forward? At halftime, what did you do well? What did you do bad? And what can you do better moving forward? Yeah. If we're in line with all those three things, then you know what you need to do moving forward. And I'm grateful because you're learning, you're growing, and you're getting better. And that's what you want to do. Every opportunity that you get better. So how can I get better in this situation moving forward? I know I maybe should have not, sent that email like that. Or maybe I assumed that if I would have put an exclamation mark on a text, that it was like, hey, excited, you took it as yelling. And that's not okay. So maybe I just changed the way that I send text. That's okay. I own it. I did that. I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. I did not mean anything. Keep it moving. But let's continue to move forward. Let's have a great day. Because you can have a bad day, but not a bad life. So if you're going to have a pity party, we're going to just part ways. Yep. Right? We're not going to talk about this anymore. Yes. I got it. So, we broke bread. We leave it alone and
so keep it moving. Yeah, that's the basis of it. Accept your responsibility. Like you said, don't accept responsibility for anything that anybody else has done. But when you do that, that allows them to do some self-reflecting. That allows them to be able to own what they've done. It almost like it breaks the ice. It disarms them. Mm-hmm. It breaks the ice. It's like somebody raising their hand first to ask a question. You know what I mean? It's breaking that ice. Everybody has a question. Mm-hmm. Everybody knows that they had a part to play in this. But guess what? If I'm the first one to do it, then that opens the door for other people to do it as well.
To be willing to do it. And if they don't, it's okay.
Oh, well. Yep. That maybe they'll get it later. So awesome. Well, we wanted to be before you guys very briefly tonight. Did you have anything else? I feel like
absolutely not.
You did it? You sure?
This is my mentor. I am your friend.
Mentor. I'm Sharita Martinez.
My name is Coach Cris, and I'm your friend. And we want you to go out and
Dominate your space.